Today we have a guest here in this NEC channel. In fact, we are going to roll out a new initiative focusing on communication skills of project managers for project management and also for contract management in that context. So we have a guest here, Brian Renwick. Brian Renwick is very proficient in many different areas. He writes a book. He does quite a long time in the HR industry. And most important of all, he is a communication skills expert. So he does a lot of coaching for a lot of people, including executive managers and engineers and the young ones too. So communication skills is the focus for today. Now, in this industry, I realized that we, the project managers or engineers, are very good at the technical skills. But sometimes I think it is also important to communicate efficiently to the other side in order to deliver the project on time, in high quality and safe, and in a good manner. And that is why this channel is going to focus on something a little bit different, but related to contract, which is communication skills. So I will let Brian to take over and see where we will come up to. Brian.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Lovely for me to be with you today. Yes, communication skills. Let's get straight to the point. Yeah. Many people think that communicating is all about the words you use and the expressions and being clear and that sort of thing. Of course, that is a big part. You need to be confident. You need to be able to speak clearly and for people to understand you. But probably one of the most overlooked parts of communication is actually listening. Now, most of us aren't very good at listening, to be honest. We are very keen to express our ideas sometimes. We enjoy chatting to people and interrupting and that sort of thing. But really listening to people is the key to good communication. And I'm not just talking about with your ears, I'm talking about with your eyes, your senses, your feelings, and so on. It takes quite a lot of practice and it takes quite a lot of doing. So let me just start there, Gordon, with that concept. We could talk about the talking parts and how to be clear and so on and so forth, but I just wanted to put that idea across to you first.
I see, that's interesting. We understand there is a very famous saying in here. We need to listen, not just hear. Sometimes people just hear without listening. Hearing without listening. What is that song? Help us understand a little bit what do you mean by listening, not just with our ears, but by feelings and all the senses. Help us understand.
Sure. Yeah, the song, by the way, is Bob Dylan, hearing, not listening. So yes, I think probably the most important thing is, there are several important things. First of all, obviously, is eye contact. Now, I think I've mentioned to you before, when you're on Zoom, this is quite difficult sometimes because the camera's over there or up there, and you want to look at the person who's down there, and you don't get the sort of sense of eye contact. You don't get the sense of person. When you're face to face with somebody, absolutely talking at the same time, it's incredibly important that you make eye contact with them at various times. Now, be a little bit aware here. Certain cultures don't like that too much. The Japanese particularly are known for the fact that eye contact of more than half a second at a time is too much. Westerners would prefer 3 or 4 seconds eye contact. So
really?
So
I should stare at you now.
Well, exactly. It depends. And different parts of Asia have different systems, different parts of South America and so on. So, you have to be a little bit aware of that. But eye contact is important in all cultures. The question is just how long. So that's the first thing. The second thing is not to assume that you know what somebody is going to say.
That's true. Yeah.
I might say to you, Gordon, I know you won't like this. I don't know that you won't like this. Your past feelings may have come forward at some time, but I'm making an assumption when I say that, you're not going to like it. That's not the right thing to do because it may not apply. Even more important sometimes, one of the things you see a lot on television sometimes when somebody is reporting an accident or something like that. And let's say something terrible has happened. And the person then says, oh, yes. No, I understand exactly how you feel. Well, sorry, you don't. You can't.
Yes.
You can't do that. So it's a very sort of common phrase to use. It's a common thing to say, but it upsets people more often than not. So listening means really, really keeping your mouth shut, keeping your ears open, keeping your eyes on the person in front of you, and making sure that you can pick up all the messages you're getting. Gordon, it's a little bit like driving a car or learning to drive a car. When you first do it, there are so many things to remember. The brakes, the signals, the rear view mirror, looking at what happens ahead. You know, when you first learn to drive, it's very hard. But as you get more experience, you kind of do it automatically and you take it for granted. So it's a little bit like this when it comes to listening. There are lots of ways in which you can listen, lots of areas that you can listen to, and you just need to keep an eye on it, whilst at the same time, of course, thinking about what the person is actually saying, and then what your views about that are, or whatever else it happens to be.
Oh, that's quite inspiring. I'm sure some of the audience here, I'm sure you will, I mean the audience when I say you, on the other side of the screen, I'm sure some of you here may have got that experience whereby you are talking, but you feel like something is not right because the other side keeps saying his or her own thing. And then we keep saying our thing, and then we're not communicating. I would say the key here is really, like you say, listen through not just our ears, but through all our senses. Wow, that is a very good phrase. I will remember this for the rest of my life. So in order to listen, we need to look at it, look at the other side, look at the body language. We need to listen, of course, by our ears and all the environments, and then like driving a car until we can autopilot it. Oh, wow.
But I wanted to pick up on a point you made just now.
Yeah.
The person who doesn't seem to be listening to you, but always wants to make the same point and make the same point and make the same point. And you try and stop them and you say this. The way to deal with that is quite simple. You just accept the fact that this person wants to get this off his chest. He wants to say it. He wants to know that you've listened. He could be a she, of course. He or she, needs to know that he's been or she's been listened to. So how do you do that? Very simple.
Right.
You put aside your own views, your own expressions for the moment, and you just say to the other person, hey, that's very interesting what you say. I hadn't thought about that, or I had thought about that. Tell me more. In other words, get them to talk, get them to get it off their chest. When they feel that you've listened to them, then you've got the opportunity very gently to bring it back and say, well, had you thought about this? Had you thought about that? Well, what about this aspect? What about that aspect? Do you think this? And so on. You can then ask him or her more questions again and put your point of view across gradually after he or she knows you have listened to him properly.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm sure some of us here may have that experience too. Now, we the project managers, when we do our meetings in our daily work, we have something called early warning meetings in the contract. We have something called negotiation process in the tender submission process with the contractor consultants. A lot of the time, the clients may not be even listening to the contractors. Yeah. So sometimes the contractors want to say something, but the clients, being a client, like the king here, like the queens here, and then they tend not to listen. I'm sure some of us here who are listening are the clients. So that is some key points that we may want to share, that if you want to choose a good contractor, we may want to listen more to the other side and see what they are trying to say. So it's more than just interviews. It's more than just job interviews or professionals, the chartered professional interviews. It's daily work. And that is why we have this initiative to roll out this communication skills coaching by Brian here. So listening. I like very much you say you need to look at the other person. By listening, we look at our eye contact. How about body language? So body language is a very complex subject here. I myself try to understand it. It is one thing to study it, it is another thing to practice it. It's not easy. It's not easy. So any opinion from you, Brian?
Yes, I mean, there are one or two human ways of showing that you're interested or you're not interested. And again, be careful because cultural differences apply here too. The way in which some of the Asian cultures behave is quite different from the way in which some of the Western cultures behave. So, for example, generally speaking, leaning forward like this and sort of showing enthusiasm and smiling. Generally speaking, leaning forward is a sign that you're interested and you're keen and you're excited. Laying back and sort of, looking around, you're clearly bored or you're not terribly interested in it. Some people believe that folding the arms, for example, is a sign of shutting themselves off. It's one of the things I do automatically. Every time I'm talking to anybody, I fold my arms because actually I find that more comfortable. But I'm aware that some people may interpret it as lack of interest. So those are just a very, very few things. But most people in most cultures respond to enthusiasm. Now, occasionally that can lead you wrong because the enthusiasm can come across as slightly childish, not very serious. You're sort of laughing when it should be something serious you're talking about.
Yeah.
But enthusiasm is generally a good thing. And that is where I come back to, of course, how you communicate and what you say and the words you use and how you say them are also important as well as listening and as body language.
Oh, I see. So you're saying we have different body languages in different culture. One thing I realize is we really need to get the baseline of a certain person. So whether folding the arms like that is really self-protection or is the person just relaxing like this? Even leaning back, sometimes I'm just tired.
Yeah.
That is why over the years, I try to apply that body language skills. It's not easy because we can't understand a certain person within 2 minutes. No, even though all the books outside they say so, I realize it's not so. It's not so. The reason being we need to understand the basic or the reference point or the baseline of that person. But I agree that there are some general rules that we can apply. And it is important. It is important for us engineers and project managers, obviously, because we do meetings all the time, every day. And then without listening, by looking at the body language of, say, the contractor, the client, we may not even understand what the other side is trying to convey, like very subtly, or any hidden agenda, or anything that is behind their minds. So we need to pick up that signal in order for us to move on.
Yeah, you're quite right, Gordon. And of course, whatever I'm saying now are generalities. Each individual is different. You've got people like you and me who've lived in different cultures, so we've sort of subtly changed our own culture. And you never quite know, unless it's somebody that you know quite well. You will know some people quite well. You'll know when they sit back like this, they're really rather bored. On the other hand, as you say, some people may just find it comfortable. So yes, you can never be 100% sure, but there are certain overall guidelines and signals. Yes, correct.
Well, Brian, time flies, really. Time flies. We have a lot to talk about. I'm sure we will roll out a number of different videos in the days and months to come. Brian and I are going to roll out some of the coaching services in communication skills, especially Brian. Brian has been in this industry for how long? 30 years. Oh my goodness.
More than that.
More than 30 years. So I understate it, you see. So we have a very experienced coach here, and then he is already coaching a number of executives, different levels, junior engineers, junior person, junior managers, all the way up to executive. Am I right? So we have something more to talk about. For example, the speaking tone. How about negotiation? I may talk a little bit on negotiation later on. How about interviewing skills? Some of you here may be very interested. Not just not just chartered professional interview, job interviews. How about you are the interviewers, not interviewees? So how about all this? We will roll out a number of videos as a new initiative. This channel may change a little bit on the name too, not just NEC now. I will add something in there. So I hope you all enjoy that. And thank you, Brian, again. I hope we can meet again, like in person or online. I'm very happy to meet you.
Absolutely, Gordon. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, everybody. And see you again soon, I hope.
Goodbye.